Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our first installment ever of Pwnophobia is a Noob. Now, I am going to analyze this game in spectator mode. It is going on live, and my comments will be live. Pwnophobia, member of GG Chronicle, host of Trinity Force podcast, and a number of other things, requested of me the other day that I watch over his game and make comments on his play. So I said I would go ahead and do that, and he's not as excited now about it as he was then. Apparently his last game wasn't so great. We do have a delay of about a minute before this. Let's check out his runes. I know he was trying something new and interesting lately. No, he's swapped back to physical damage, armor, and magic resist at level 18. There is a trick though. If you give up, I don't know if it's one or two of these magic resist runes, you can actually get 16 physical damage. So that's actually how I have my rune set up. One extra physical damage does actually make a difference, and we'll probably see a 2109. Oh, actually, that's probably a good choice. 21-9. Although, yes, that is pretty standard across the board there. Sometimes people pick up a point in Havoc, and not so much a point in Butcher. I often normally take Summoner's Wrath too, in case I'm going to take Exhaust or Ignite, which I will generally take. As an AD carry, I prefer taking those over Heal, although clearly the plan for this build is to take Heal, as they have Summoner's Resolve, which will grant a higher heal percent there, 10% extra, that is. So we are hopping into the game now. Exciting, exciting. Oh. Okay, everything is going well. So we do see a double heal bottom lane. I'm not a huge fan of that. Heal has been nerfed, the past two patches, essentially. The last nerf was actually pretty substantial, and previously, the previous nerf wasn't huge, but what it did do is it made the overlap for healing, the healing reduction on Summoner Heal, increased to 35 seconds from, I believe, like 20. So essentially, if they use those in quicker succession, they're going to be in big trouble. That all being said, this bottom lane is ridiculously strong. Leona and Miss Fortune are crazy, crazy strong. And for whatever reason, it's showing me them. So I'm going to focus mainly on Pwnophobia throughout this game. Now, Varus is pretty good. He's a pretty good duelist, has pretty good early game harass. Janna, however, despite the fact that she's my favorite champion, you have to tell people more and more, hey, I'm actually not a good duelist anymore, or even a 2v2 person. I don't help quite as much as a lot of the other supports. Certainly not as much as Taric, not as much as Leona in shorter battles, and yeah, not as much as basically anyone. Every single person, I think, trades better than Janna. The one thing she really had going for her was she used to trade a lot better than Soraka, but now that her shield disappears so quick, obviously once it's damaged down, it no longer grants the attack damage. Now that is the case, she's really relatively weak in those 2v2 skirmishes. So weak to the extent that you really rather avoid them. The one thing Janna does still have going for her is when it is a 2v1, when you have the advantage, you can really jump up on them with relative ease, land a Zephyr, land a Howling Gale, which is a tornado, and go from there. So we see defensive positioning here from blue team. That's probably a good idea. Certainly they could invade. They have a decent invading team. They have a decent level 1 team. But no need to do that. In a normal games, a lot of people decide to opt against it. That being said, Jax is not a great jungler, and so you could kind of counter him by going in for that evade. Certainly the junglers that don't have quite as good of a usual pattern early on are the most worth invading. If they're really blue reliant, if they get lower in the jungle, if they're a little bit slower in the jungle, it just makes more sense to do that. And we do see purple team opted not to do wolves, whereas blue team did do wolves there. So Nautilus is already a little bit ahead, already 3 minions ahead, and really you don't lose anything. If your team helps you out with wolves, you don't lose anything by doing those firsthand. So we do see some early aggression here. A little stun on that Janna, and that will be first blood, so good pickup. Certainly Janna probably not expecting to just get popped in the face there. I'm surprised they didn't take Zenith Blade first, but just, yeah, a little bit, I don't know, a little bit carelessness from that Janna. whereas Leona and MF really beast early on. I mean, I feel like MF's level 1 fight is probably the best in the game. Out of the 80 carries, that is. Her W is just huge. Just a huge bonus. It always likes swapping me no matter what I do. We've seen pretty good last hitting and pretty good harassing. They know that this Varus is all alone. Ooh, wow. So that was a nice Zenith Blade combination, but did get him in range of the turret, so you want to be careful about that. But, yeah, they're still going to be able to zone him out here, so doing a good job of that. They know they can. Oh, that looked like it landed. It did not. And the last hitting, you know, staying ahead of everyone. Obviously staying 10 ahead of that Varus. So, good show in that respect. Missed the CS there. I mean, you're not going to hit every CS, and this thing is going to keep moving me. Okay, directed camera now off. It's also really hard to last hit when you have like 15 minions going all for 1 minion of your own. But regardless, doing a decent job. Like I said, mainly you're competing against the opposition in CS. It's like, yes, you want to have the highest as possible, but mainly you want to be ahead of your opposition at all times. There is good warding from Leona. They do see Jax coming down. Jax taking an unusual route, being very gank heavy at this point, but not going to get anything out of that. Certainly really just giving his bottom lane the ability to farm up a little bit, because up to this point Varus has been almost, you know, zoned out the entire time, but now Varus is back up to 14 CS compared to the 17 from MF. Certainly you have to be careful about those ganks, but at the same time, you don't want to give up your advantage in lane on the threat of ganks. So now I see this Varus who's been having trouble is now actually a level ahead. One thing I would always say, and I see this a lot with Ashe players, is if you're kind of being zoned out, ooh, so there was an engage. I thought that was going to be trouble because he engaged, like, and there's, you know, there's a significantly large purple minion advantage there, but it didn't even matter because they were able to kill that Janna so quickly. So that is another kill pickup there. That is 2 kills under the belt of MF. But right now, you're like, hey, it's two against 1. You really gotta stay on the offensive and not let them get any CS. Try not to let them even get experience from this. So yeah, back to farming on up. Still not farming as well as really she could. And even in this case, even if Leona goes back, you want to give the impression that your support isn't back, and yeah, stay on the offensive. So this is a really nice show right here. Probably should have procced W. I mean, I don't understand why you don't proc the movement speed bonus. That also gives you an active that's pretty nice. And I don't think the mana cost is that huge. 50 mana as compared to 80 for Make It Rain. So yeah. Oh, well, we say that now. Rekron's being a little bit over aggressive. That support there. He needs to go back, and the sooner he goes back, the better. Because they really want to reassert their lane dominance. And one thing here is that Pwnophobia could go back as well, push this lane, and then buy some Doran's blades, and really have a big lead. So as I was saying earlier, before the action began, or recommenced rather, if you're really wanting the lane to push against you, and if you're not absolutely certain a skill is going to get you last hits, you don't want to use those skills. In this case, you didn't want to use the double up. Wow. Wow. Oh, that double up. So close. So close to killing him. Oh, 15 hit points. Probably under 15 hit points. So really good show. Really good show by this aggressive bottom lane combination. And they're really going to be able to assert their dominance throughout this laning phase. Like, there's nothing that can really, change that. And so, like I said, they should probably head on back. It does have a 18 CS lead here. That is very good, and we'll be able to pick up, let's see, has 1995. So, looks like, yeah, is going to pick up Doran's Blade. Could have rushed a BF sword, though. And sometimes that's a way that I would appreciate people going, is getting that really early BF sword. But instead, going with Doran's Blade, level 2 boots, and a Vamp Scepter. So that's certainly an acceptable route to go as well, because Pwnophobia is now going to be significantly tankier. do decent amounts of damage and have good sustain on her own. Obviously, Leona doesn't grant any sort of sustain as a support champion, and that's kind of one of her weaknesses, but obviously her weaknesses are outshined when she allows your AD carry to pick up 2 early kills before 8 minutes into the game. Probably before 7 minutes into the game. But yeah, certainly if you want to lifesteal, if you want the lane to push against you, don't use volley, don't use double up, you know, don't use things of that nature, because unless you have a strategy of like pushing towards their tower, you kind of want it to get to you. So we see a little bit more aggression, a nice ultimate there. Very rarely do I see such a nicely placed ultimate, but really chunk down both of these guys to about 1/3 of their life. They don't know that they're sitting on a ward, most likely. Yeah, I always get annoyed when MFs or Caitlyn's use their ultimate when, you know, people are still in auto attack range, but in that case it was able to really chunk down both the opposition's life. Leona has surprisingly good health regeneration. Whew. Whew. That is a lot of damage. So we're going to look at Leona here. Oh. We can now see it. But the health regeneration on Leona is 34 per 5 seconds. Whereas, you know, for MF it's 9. You know, obviously, you know, Leona is helped out significantly by this 18, but even without that it would be 14 versus 9. And Leona is a level down, so Leona will get even more when she hits level 6. So, more good last hitting. Obviously, you know, as an AD carry, the point is to have the highest CS in the game. You have a support to kind of ensure that, to help ensure that. And we did see a teleport come down from Nautilus, but it's all going to be for naught, as, you know, they probably saw him in the bush, they saw the Jax incoming as well. But, oh, it is going to be a counter gank here. Good job being the first one on scene. That being said, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, and you know, she might have gotten ahead of herself there. Good offensive flash. Oh, but it is going to get caught by the ultimate. Oh my goodness, and that ultimate just didn't quite land as planned. Wrecker really wants to go in here. May or may not. I don't think he was going to get away, but oh man, you would think it was worth it, but at the same time, you probably don't want to be super aggressive when the opposition is in your jungle. Like, and they knew they were there. Like, Pwnophobia started chasing, and then it's like, okay, now let's take care of this. Well, you probably don't want to tower dive when you know the other people are behind you. Like, if they hadn't been behind them, you know, that would have been definitely worth it. Definitely worth it, because they got 2 for 1. Both of the kills went to the carry. Everything up until the fact, you know, that they had 2 enemies behind them went great. But at the same time, the team is at least taking advantage. Katarina picks up a kill middle. Up top, Olaf got a lot of free farm, pushed the turret, so is kind of, you know, ensuring that some farm is wasted for that Nautilus. Yeah, just kind of watching a duel of the junglers here. I don't know why. My camera just wanted to lock onto this spot. And jungle attacks in the lane. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wow. Oh, that was pretty nice. Did pop into range there to get caught out. Record almost going to pick up that kill on Jax. Wow. It looks like he didn't want to pick it up and wanted to allow the MF to get it. And a nice shot there. That was pretty impressive. But regardless, I mean, that fight went 1 for 1, but it was actually hugely in the favor of blue side there and Pwnophobia, because she picked up the double buff. And they're able to follow it up with another kill there. So good mechanical skills, decent farming. Oh, I keep on turning on directed camera with my D, just because it's kind of a habit now. Okay, this is one thing I feel like lower elo people do too often, and that's go towards other lanes. Like, particularly chasing after a Fizz, like, if that Fizz was decently farmed, he would be able just to turn around and insta-give you. And that's the same as a lot of AP carries. And certainly I understand it, because hey, you know, they're pushed under the turret, we don't really want to do anything at this point, but you really just want to keep the pressure on bottom, keep the pressure on in your lane, make sure you keep getting that farm. 76 farm is good, but it's just not excellent at this point in the game. 13 minutes in, could be doing a little bit better, and that's in part because just missing CS, but you know, I think a larger part of that is the fact that, you know, there's been a lot of fighting in this game, and quite a bit of roaming too. It looks like they'll probably pick up this kill on... Ooh, wow, that was a really nice ultimate from Leona. They do pick up the kill on Janna. Janna is particularly squishy against a Leona. I remember, I think it's AAA, Against All Authority, always runs Leona against, who was it? Fanatics Janna, just because if they're running GP10 runes, then they're just incredibly squishy. That got stolen there. Certainly, if you are taking their blue buff, you want to check in that brush. Because if they're just sitting there, you just did all that work for him, and he's completely healthy. And he's got the smitered away. And you really lose nothing for you doing all the work. In a, you know, had you just checked that brush, it would have been a free blue buff for you. Now that being said, Pwnophobia has double buff, so isn't too upset about that. And the whole team has a decent lead here. Unfortunately, those buffs ran out mid-fight there. Otherwise, probably would have been able to keep chasing down that Varus. Varus out of mana. No reason to allow this Varus to farm right now, except for the fact that your Leona's missing. I always hate that as an AD carry when my support suddenly decides to go missing, go middle, as is the case here. Oh man. Oh, I thought that would take him down. It did not. And I always see MF having a 1v2 down here, but still feels stronger. Okay, now this is certainly a mistake, going in 1v2 against a Janna and a Varus, and it's going to have to burn the flash out there. There was really no reason to go on the offensive. Like, nothing good was going to come out of going 1-on-2 there. And certainly, you know, you get frustrated when you're ahead and your support goes off to roam, but even if you're ahead, it's really hard to win 1v2 matchups, unless you're against a Soraka matchup and you are really far ahead, and you have like a healing debuff. In that case, you can actually win. But we do see MF hasn't gone back to buy in a long time, has 3,100 gold now. So that's excessive. I know it's like always fun to be like saving up all that gold. You're like, oh man, I can go back and like buy my, you know, Infinity Edge in one go. I do understand that's fun, but it's not a good idea, because you really want to spend all your gold as soon as you have it. Like right now, she's actually so far behind she cannot one-hit the ranged minions after they're hit by the turret. And that's because she has, you know, so much gold left in store in the bank. 3,300. And another good trick that most people do, but others don't, is if you're MF in particular, you know, clear out this wave with your ultimate. It'll only take a few seconds, and then you'll ensure that the wave is pushing this way when you go back, and you'll lose less minions to the turret, and your turret won't generally be killed. So that's always a good idea. I believe Pwnophobia had enough mana to do it in that case. Should have probably waited for the next wave, cleared it, and then headed away. We do see Leona is helping pick up kills in other places, but Varus is essentially able to free farm now. Like, there's nothing stopping him. Janna's messing around with MF, but, I mean, MF could potentially lose a battle here if, you know, they got caught by that Janna and by that Varus. You know, there's a decent amount of CC there from Janna and Varus, so has to be really careful. But mainly, Varus is now getting back into the game. Is now 24 minions behind. At one point, Varus was significantly further behind, so you kind of have to worry about that. Another thing we see here, as MF, pick up a BF sword and a Zeal. Like, that's not terrible, and I see that happen pretty frequently, but I always feel like, hey, get your big ticket item first before you go into that Zeal. It's tougher, you know, champions without escape moves, because you really want that Zeal for that extra maneuverability. Oh, and that was a good knockback by Janet. But at the same time, you really are just kind of waiting to get that Infinity Edge. It's very important. Now, walked into turret there with the ultimate. That's kind of a function of going against a new champion, I feel. Oh man, Reckon's taking way too much damage, but it is what it is. But yeah, certainly, going against new champions, you have to know all their little tricks, and that is certainly one of the tricks. Oh, it looked like a little confused at focus there. Looks like he switched to Janna, but everything turns out okay. So we're gonna take a re-look at this. This was kind of a messed up, little battle here. Okay, no, that was my mistake. Everything went just fine. It was just me looking at it in an odd sort of fashion. The double up actually hit the Janna, and I thought that was an occasion of them swapping up targets. Katarina got that kill, looks like. Anyway, 7-1-3, 113 farm, almost highest in the game. Katarina actually has higher, which is a little surprising because Katarina's not against the lane that really favors her, and Katarina doesn't farm too well early on. But clearly, this cat is pretty good. Oh man! Oh what? No shield? No shield on that guy? Intriguing. Maybe she just casted her shield. Although I don't believe so. That Jax is probably not too happy. Now, another thing they did is they took an early turret, which is fine, except when you're dominating a lane, when you're 7-1 and you're just destroying a lane, you really want that lane to last as long as possible. And how do you make the lane last as long as possible? Well, you don't take their turret. And now, that's a double-edged sword because it's really nice for the rest of your team to get that extra 150 gold under their belt. And in that case, there was a fight going on behind the turret, so Pwnophobia was like, oh, I better get to it. And, Pwnophobia is going to be able to take advantage here. I thought get a kill, but is going to be able to take this turret. So, transitions really well and helps take out that turret. But at the same time, oh man, that Katarina is just like messing everyone up. Yeah, generally when you're running, you don't want to stop to use your ultimate as MF, because if you get caught, you're just kind of boned. Oh man, Reckon going in. Oh, this is going to be a pretty good team fight. Pwnophobia looks pretty safe back there. There's certainly, like, a portion of the battle up here and no one going after the AD carry. This is a terrible thing for Purple Team, but an excellent thing for Pwnophobia, Wrecker, and Ranhart, this crew right here. And they have a substantial lead, so this is a, really good match so far for them. And, if you really just want to demoralize the other team, then it might make sense for you to take bottom turret, go to mid, take that, go take dragon. But yeah, and now we're going to see them probably take a dragon. Or not. That's something they really should work on, if they're not going to take it. Okay, they are going to take it. It looks like Pwnophobia is going to go down here, looking to get, involved in that kill. Did not get an assist, might have got the experience for it. No, if you are in a situation where you, would only get the last hit for someone, and you're worried that you're going to kill steal it, if there's no one else that has helped on the kill, if it's just one-on-one before that, you have to kill steal it. You absolutely have to. Why? Because it's like an extra 170, 180 gold that is combined in the pot, because you get 58% of the kill gold for the assist gold, and now that's split between a lot of people. So if if it's 2-on-1 and you show up and you're like, oh, should I KS this or not? You don't need to. But if it's a one-on-one and you go up, you should KS it, because your team essentially is getting an extra 150, 180, a significant amount of extra gold just for you stealing it. Now granted, the person you steal it from is like, oh man, that could have been my gold, the kill gold, but they're still getting 58% of that kill gold, and you're getting the entirety of the kill gold. So it certainly is a win for the entire team. So we do see, a pickup of the Infinity Edge here. This is kind of generally when an AD carry gets really scary, picking up that Infinity Edge. Probably not a good idea to attack a Jax who has Counter-Strike on underneath the turret and pick up turret aggro, but they're not too worried about this. Oh man, I like that. I like that ultimate. It was kind of zoning out the rest of the team from coming in, and it was in a very safe position. I guess Pwnophobia had faith that, his team was going to be able to kill everyone in the little alleyway and just decided to zone out the rest of the team. Did a pretty stellar job, and now they're just too beastly, just going on and taking him down. Oh! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Barely getting away there. Oh man. That Chum the Waters knocked her up, slowed her, and nearly didn't get out of turret range in time, but did. And let's see how much gold they have now. Another 1,000 gold, so they can pick up another, well actually, they can pick up another portion of their Phantom Dancer. It looks like they're rushing Last Whisper. Why would they be rushing Last Whisper in this case, though? I mean, Nautilus is a little bit tanky, has Aegis, now a Chainmail Vest, going to go into Frozen Heart. But, I mean, the big thing about Frozen Heart is it actually slows down your attack speed. And so how do you want to counteract that? Well, I want to get more attack speed. Pwnophobia, not interested in that. Looks like they're going to go for the early Last Whisper. I actually read not an article, a thread the other day, or I think it was just yesterday, and it was kind of stating, hey, actually, in a lot of cases it makes more sense to buy your second Phantom Dancer instead of going into a Last Whisper. And I was like, what do you mean? That seems pretty crazy, but you look at the numbers. Yeah, in a lot of instances it actually does make sense. So, oh wow. You don't want to be caught there in range of their bruiser in a 2v5 essentially, but since they're so fed, it's almost going to turn out okay. Turns out okay for Pwnophobia, gets a triple kill there, and now the rest of the team is kind of showing up. Oh, close, but no cigar. So essentially a delayed quadra kill there. Probably pick this up, probably pick out an inhibitor. In general, that fight was really poorly, conceived to begin with, because it was essentially like a 2v5. Jax was able to initiate the fight by jumping on top of MF and stunning her. The only reason that worked is obviously because both Katarina and MF were so fed, but, I mean, you don't want to... I mean, essentially, it's a bad practice to be doing that. The flash, good flash, gets out of Chum the Waters. Obviously, Fizz really wants this kill. MF moving relatively fast, though. He's going to be able to get away. And how is the fight going for the rest of their team? Not too well, not too well. Bogus! Bogus, dude! Olaf gets taken down. So, yep, there is the Last Whisper. Really, the only person with any sort of armor is Nautilus, and you don't want to be attacking him until last anyway. I don't really like the Last Whisper pickup. I much would have rather preferred to see an earlier Phantom Dancer. I think that's kind of, the common way to build them. And I think as we, get into the future, I think we'll see like more double Phantom Dancers before going to Last Whisper. And I generally also will be like, I'll kind of interweave a defensive item in there as well, instead of going into the Last Whisper. Because, as you see in this game, and this happens in most games, there are very few people going to be building armor, and granted, you might have to attack said people. You may have to attack that Nautilus to get them off your back, but in most of these fights there's going to be other targets as well, because Jax is also going to want to kill you, Fizz is also going to want to try to assassinate you, so you're going to have someone else to shoot at besides the guy with a lot of armor. Is what it is. Pwnophobia a little bit caught out of place here. I mean, wow. Yeah, they're just so strong here, but it's a very bad habit to be forming, just like kind of getting into the battle when you're outmanned like that. So just go ahead and wait for the rest of your team. That rarely hurts. That being said, is being a hero, picks up a double kill, might be able to pick up a triple, and really, if everyone wasn't running away so fast, should be a penta. Should be a penta. I think time has elapsed for another kill, but this will be a free inhibitor. That was a 3-for-0, and this game is just going incredibly well for Pwnophobia. So unfortunately, I'm not able to say, too many bad things that they're doing, and I would love to do that. Getting poked a little bit too much there, but overall, good laning phase, good teamfight presence. Really, they were just able to dominate, in large part because of that strong early game. I mean, Leona helped pick up that early kill, although was gonna say, this is going to be a little bit troubling for them. Nope, not too troubling. Oh man, Wrecker just violently going in there, tower diving. And this is kind of a dangerous situation for an AD carry. That Jax is all business, all about business. But, uh-oh. There's double kill. Ooh. Oh, and Janna's not going to be able to do anything here. Oh, now the exhaust comes down? Really? Janna picks up the exhaust. That was crazy, or the kill with exhaust. So I'm pretty sure Janna had that a long time ago, but let's look at that again. Let's go back another 15 seconds. Oh, actually, I take that back. Janna got exhaust right about... Okay, now Janna has exhaust. Pretty sure. Okay, so Janna actually could have saved affairs. Apparently decided not to. But did get that kill for herself. Very rich Janna. Alright, let's jump back to the future. So everyone's healing up. Now has a Phantom Dancer. Now is apparently going for another Phantom Dancer. At this point I would definitely be going for like a GA or a Quicksilver Sash. Now, P is for pause. So now they're going after Baron. I mean, really, they've been so far ahead, they could have gotten Baron and Dragon at any point that they wanted throughout this game. And this is going to take, you know, from about 29-12 to 29-20 maybe? Yeah, 29-18. That was an incredibly fast Baron, because they have a good Baroning team. Nautilus decent, Leona helps quite a bit, Olaf good, obviously Fed MF really good at killing quickly. That's a Pwnophobia using the flash there. And the ultimate does miss, and I don't know if you really should use a flash when you're not going to pick up the kill, especially as an AD carry. Like, you kind of want to save that flash to be defensive, and that's something I kind of always suggest. Like, it's kind of a different mindset than AD carry. Kills and like picking up those kills aren't as important. Like, you don't want to trade because you want to stay alive as long as possible. So you doing damage is more important than you picking up those kills from any point in the game. Yep, a little bit over-aggression by that by that Leona, but it is going to be a good game anyway. It does seem Pwnophobia just straight smashing there. Oh, does pick up the final turret kill, so that's what matters at the end of the day. Whoever gets that Nexus turret kill is the MVP of the game. Very good game from Pwnophobia on Misfortune. So this was kind of like my prototype, my first attempt at this. I have done analysis before, I've done shoutcasting before, but insofar as live casting and commenting on one person's play, this was kind of my first attempt. So I hope you enjoyed, and certainly if you want to have the same experience, if you want me to watch over your games, let me know. I think I'll be making a Reddit post or general discussion forum in the near future, trying to obtain more people who would be interested in having their games watched, having me comment on them from a decently high elo perspective, and I will do so in a relatively friendly manner. Certainly if you're doing something wrong, I'm going to comment on it, but I'm not going to make any